What's going on, A to Z Sports? It is the Titans pregame show live here on A to Z Sports. Sam Phelan alongside Jack Gentry for a Monday night edition of Titans Game Day Live. The Titans are in Miami at Hard Rock Stadium tonight for a big litmus test for Will Levis and company. It might get a little bit ugly, but we are going to bear through it with all of you as we see how the Titans come out and look here in primetime. We have a lot to talk about, including what Will Levis can prove tonight against the Dolphins, taking a look at our bingo card and what might come off. And then it's prediction time to wrap up today's pregame show before we settle in and watch primetime Titans football, Jack. But first of all, how you doing? And tell the fine folks what to do.
Feels like the calm before a storm right now over here, Sam. And it's nice to be on national television, but hopefully this goes a little bit different than I think all of us are expecting. But while y'all are filing in, it's Monday night. It's fun to be playing on national TV. Everyone gets to watch. We want everyone to watch this show. So if you're watching on Facebook, share it to your Titans Facebook groups. Share it to just anywhere on Facebook where you think you've got friends that you've been talking to all week. Maybe it's about player changes, coaching changes, whatever it may be. When it comes to the Titans, we want y'all to share the show all over Facebook so we can grow our audience, grow the show, and hear from all of you in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube, tap that bell icon at the top of your screen. Make sure you turn your notifications on so you get an update every time A to Z Sports goes live or posts any content to the YouTube channel. You do not want to miss out on any of it. Finally, if you're watching on Twitch, text that Twitch link to your Titans text groups. Text it to your family. Text it to your relatives. Whoever's interested in this game tonight, like I said about Facebook, we want y'all to come in here, give us your opinions in the chat. We'll get to as many of you as we can. But Sam, it's time to get this show on the road.
Yes, it is. Before we do, a quick shout out to all of our partners before we get things going. That's X Golf Nashville, the home of indoor golf in Middle Tennessee. X Golf, play, train, and entertain at xgolfnashville.com. The Mint Gaming Hall, home of big jackpots and big fun, just 35 minutes north of Nashville. You can visit them at themintgaming.com. BetMGM, use code ATOZ200 to turn a $10 money line wager into $200 in bonus bets instantly. So if you've got a pick for tonight's game, do it with BetMGM. They're an official partner of the Tennessee Titans. The law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, wherever justice demands. Tennessee and family criminal courts in 35 counties in Middle Tennessee at amandajgentry.com. Chim Chimney for all your chimney needs. chim-chimneyinc.com. Adventure Science Center. Explore and discover your full family venture at Waits at adventurecsi.org. And Jarrett Fire HVAC and Plumbing. Keep your facility comfortable and secure at jarrettcompanies.com. Jack, you said it's fun to play on Monday Night Football. I guess the question off the bat, is tonight going to be a fun night to be on Monday Night Football? Everybody looks forward to the primetime games on the schedule, but if it's your team getting boat raced by 35, you quickly want America to turn the channel, go watch Packers-Giants. I guess that's the one thing the Titans have going for them. They're not the only show on television tonight.
Yeah, that's the worst part about it is if this game does get ugly, your only other alternative is to go watch the Packers and Jets throw rocks at each other.
Tommy DeVito.
I understand. But I'm just saying that's not a good option. I know there's a lot of
tough watch on both sides of ABC and ESPN.
Fantasy football implications all over the place tonight as well. So people will be watching for different reasons. I'm watching this game, obviously, because the Titans are playing. Sam, I think when the schedule came out, this game was a lot more exciting than it is now when you're at this point in the season, when you're staring down the barrel of the Miami Dolphins offense with really a Titans team that's missing a lot of pieces on both sides of the football. Titans will be without Jeffrey Simmons. They'll be without Christian Fulton tonight. That is really tough going up against a Dolphins team that has no problem airing it out, but can also kind of sledgehammer you in the run game.
No, they're dangerous in the run game. I mean, Devon Achane and Raheem Mostert have just been an unbelievable duo. It's just speed across the board. Like you hear speed with this Miami Dolphins team and you're like, oh yeah, Tyreek Hill. But it's more than Tyreek Hill. It's more than Jalen Waddle. It is across the board of these wide receivers and these running backs where I wouldn't be surprised. Like Jack, you and I were talking before we hopped on the show here about what bets we were trying to take for this game. I bet you there's a lot of people around America right now hammering the over on Tyreek Hill, hammering the over on Tua Tagovailoa. I'm not so sure those are necessarily going to go over. Now, it obviously wouldn't shock me, but the main reason why I could see it not going over is because they might run for 250 yards. Like they've done this before in the running game. And without Jeffrey Simmons on this defensive line for the Titans, it's more than just, hey, can you guard the number one receiver on the field? It's like you're in trouble across the board.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. You actually kind of teased a little bit of what my X factor might be here heading down the stretch. But there's plenty of storylines to watch. One on the other side of the ball, the Dolphins defense. Very good pass rush. They've got David Long in the middle of that defense, who the Titans let walk this offseason. Surprise, surprise, David Long leads the Dolphins in tackles this year, one of the best units in football that just got even better when Jalen Ramsey made his return. So Will Levis is going to have to be precise, and he's going to have to make good decisions back there in a game where they're probably going to ask him to throw the ball more than usual.
Yeah, it's a big game for Will Levis. And Jack, you mentioned like everybody who is tuning into this Titans game, a lot of Titans fans probably going to have to look for reasons over the next 5 weeks to watch this team week in and week out when they're out of contention. And when you're going up against the really, really good Miami team, that's especially the case. But the number one reason always for Titans fans for the rest of this year is going to be watching number 8 play quarterback. And tonight, I think, Jack, is a huge litmus test for Will Levis and really just his national profile, because this is his second opportunity in primetime, but it's an opportunity in a game that I don't think is going to be like a scrappy 17-13 type of game like we saw in Pittsburgh. This is going to be a game that, eyes are on the Titans and Will Levis, and he can put on a show to change, as you said, pregame, the narrative about him. And so I think this is a huge test against an explosive offense. And so I want to kick off things tonight by asking the question to the chat and to you, Jack. What can Will Levis prove to the NFL world on Monday Night Football? It's kind of a broad, open-ended question, but I want to know, what can Will Levis prove here on Monday Night Football? What do you think, Jack?
When it comes to Will Levis and kind of his reputation around the football world, I think everybody got a glimpse into what he can do. He played okay. He played probably well enough to win that game against the Steelers. They just ran out of time late, but that was his second start on a short week. You're going to see a much different Will Levis tonight, one that I believe has gotten more comfortable in this offense, and I believe his coaching staff has gotten more comfortable with Will Levis and letting him kind of air it out. That leash isn't as short as it used to be. They're going to let him try and do things to keep up with this Miami offense because, look, you're not going to win this game with 17 points tonight. If the Titans want to win this football game, they're going to need to score at least 24 points, probably 30. That's just the way the Miami Dolphins play football. They're a quick strike offense. So Will Levis tonight, while Titans fans may have rooting interests, when it comes to the draft, and Titans, the old Titans would win a game like this. I don't know if this team has it in them, especially considering that it's on the road. But I saw a comment. I'll look back and try and find it. But really, I think Titans fans all want the same thing tonight, and that's just Will Levis to look good. Will Levis to keep it close, keep it competitive in a game where, everyone's talking about the Dolphins offense coming in. What can Will Levis do? Can Will Levis hit 300 yards? Can he throw for a couple of touchdowns? My key for Will Levis tonight, how do you stay aggressive without the turnover-worthy plays? He hasn't turned the ball over a lot, but he's had quite a few turnover-worthy plays, some interceptions that got dropped. We saw the fumble issues last week, and they're going up against Bradley Chubb, who's forced 4 fumbles. They have 4 players on the Dolphins with 6.5 sacks, so he might not have time to take that 5-step drop and air it out downfield to DeAndre Hopkins, to Chris Moore, some of the vertical threats the Titans have, Treylon Burks. So I want to see if Will Levis can be aggressive tonight without making a mistake. Tough defense to go against. Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey, those are 2 of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. They both just happen to play together. How can Will Levis be aggressive, push the ball downfield without making any critical mistakes that put the Titans behind the 8 ball?
I love it. I mean, that's kind of been the name of the game for him so far, is the Titans eventually are going to have to let Will Levis play quarterback. I think there's a lot of fear in this coaching staff about turning the football over. And so that was an issue at Kentucky. I personally would like to see him learn by some failure. And tonight, I think we're going to see some of that. So we asked the question, what can Will Levis prove to the NFL world on Monday Night Football? And here's what the chat had to say. I mean, we got Darius saying that he's got that dog in him. Jared says that the game isn't too big for him.
Great answer.
Yeah, which I think is very true. Nuclear says to prove how tough he is with this offensive line. I do think he's already proven that, in my opinion, that's something he's already kind of done. Luman just says nothing. Andrew says that he can finish a game, that he can win a big game. Let's see what else. Let's see what else he got here, that he can score 30 points, that he's not Marcus Mariota, that he has the moxie to play in the league, how close he really is to Stroud. Now, this, I'm going to go off of this, Jack, because here's my answer. In the NFL, there are maybe 5 to 7 quarterbacks who are in a tier above everybody else. And that tier is the tier of they can get you points like that, and you never feel like you're out of a football game. And there is a level of like, all right, we have a competent NFL quarterback, we have a franchise quarterback, or we have that guy who can go get you points in a flash. And I think Will Levis, he obviously one game does not make where he is. But when you look at the rookie quarterbacks in the league right now, you have guys like, Anthony Richardson, who looked pretty solid in his time playing, right? Then you've got a CJ Stroud. And I think where CJ Stroud has elevated himself as a rookie is in some of these games where needing points late in the game in a 37-34 game that the Houston Texans are in. CJ Stroud, time and time again, can go and get quick points and hit explosive plays. I think Will Levis today can show the NFL world he's not this game manager. Derrick Henry needs to run for 100 yards to win, manage a clock, don't make too many mistakes quarterback. I think he can show that he has that explosive arm over and over and over again, and that he can hang with one of the most, probably the most explosive offense in football. If he can do that, the narrative about who Will Levis is as a young quarterback in this league starts to change a little bit. It starts going from, Titans might have a guy. The Titans like what they see in him to, this guy is a dude that the NFL needs to look out for in the years to come.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And, tonight is a bit of a talent show, if you will, for the Titans. And this season, they've had the Party City magician costume where you pull the flowers out of the hat, you got a fake rabbit. It's not an impressive act. Tonight, Will Levis and Tajay Spears and Chikakonkwo and some of these young guns the Titans have on offense and defense can show the NFL that, hey, there is a light at the end of the tunnel for the Titans. They've been just trudging along in dark waters and with no end in sight. Tonight, Will Levis can show that he's worth building around. I think Titans fans have already kind of gotten a sense of it. You don't have an offensive line. You don't have the necessary weapons you need in order to compete at the highest level in the NFL. Will Levis can show everybody that he's worth investing in. He's the type of quarterback that can elevate talent around him. And it's a big game for him. I don't think he's scared. He's kind of a gamer, Sam. It doesn't seem like anything really phases him.
No,
I am interested to see, though, if it maybe speeds him up. If he comes out in the first quarter, maybe throws a couple balls over his receivers, maybe comes out a little jittery because of the moment, because of the pressure. But to me, tonight is just a talent show for the Titans. Show the rest of the league what you have and what they're going to be seeing and hopefully fearing in the next couple of seasons.
Yeah, right. You can lose this game and come out being like, hey, Will Levis, though. I mean, hey, you've got a guy here. What's it going to take to win the game? I don't know. That's what we're going to talk about right now, because it's time for the X Golf X Factor, where we ask the question, Jack, who or what will be the X Golf X Factor for a Titans win tonight over the Dolphins? The X Golf X Factor for a Titans win over the Dolphins. And that is brought to you by our partners at X Golf. They've reinvented the player experience by creating the most accurate indoor golf simulators on the market today, giving every person the power to take on the world's top courses compete in a wide variety of game formats, improve their swing with lessons and superior analytics, all while being totally entertained. They've got Monday Night Football leagues that are going on right now. Those started back in November, where you can compete for prizes and bragging rights while watching the game on one of the 10 big screens. They've got a bar. I mean, X Golf has something for everybody, and it doesn't really matter what your skill level is. You can still go and have a good time. So go to xgolfnashville.com to get with our good friends and partners over at X Golf. But Jack, we asked the question, who or what will be the X Golf X factor for a Titans win? Why don't you go to the chat and see what the people are saying?
Perfect. Recty says Traylon Burks, and I agree. He's got to really – Will Levis has to find a way to unlock him. You're not going to win this football game without Traylon Burks making at least one or two big plays down the field. Jeff says it's the whole offensive line. They've got their hands full tonight, Jeff, against a really dynamic Dolphins pass rush, not only in the interior with Christian Wilkins, but Jalen Phillips is coming off the edge. He's a great pass rusher Bradley Chubb. Both have the ability to get to the quarterback and force turnovers, something we haven't seen the Titans do a whole lot this season. Derek says Tajay Spears. I think he's going to have a massive role again tonight. We got a taste of what he can do in the fourth quarter last week. Can he capitalize and carry that momentum into tonight and really, catapult this Titans offense? We will see. The new punter, says Eric. Who's going to fill those shoes for Stonehouse? Well, we know who it is, but how can he step up and fill those shoes? He's got big shoes to fill, no pun intended. Will Levis from Logan. Tart and Autry. No Jeffrey Simmons. Tart and Autry are going to have to be big in the middle tonight. Tim Kelly's ability to sustain drives from Malachi. Got to keep the Titans defense off the field. The Dolphins are going to give them hell when they're in there, so make sure your defense is rested by converting on third down, something that you haven't done very well this season, converting on just 32% of your third downs, which ranks 29th in the NFL. That's not good enough. Has to be better tonight. Henry from Karen, and finally, we'll close it out right here with turnovers. Titans have to win the turnover battle tonight if they have any hope to win this game, Sam. I'm gonna give you my answer.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people obviously, are going to talk about Jalen Phillips did tear his Achilles last week. How did that slip my mind? A lot of people are going to highlight the cornerbacks for the Titans. Trey Avery filling in for Fulton this week. SMB, he's kind of been a little shaky in the last few weeks. I'm not as worried about that. I'm more worried about the guys behind them, because Tyreek Hill can get behind defenses like no other player in this league. In fact, he's got at least one catch of 30-plus yards in 8 games this season. You can live with the 5, 10, 15, but you can't give up the big play over the top.
Yeah.
He's also got 8 100-yard games this season. And on Monday Night Football, you can bet that he's going to make his best case for that MVP award tonight, which I believe he's in the conversation for if he hits that 2,000 number. But I'm looking at Amani Hooker and Elijah Moulton. Can those guys keep the big guys, keep Waddle and Hill in check tonight, maybe make a turnover in the process, and give the Titans offense some nice field position to capitalize on? They haven't won the turnover battle hardly at all this season. Tonight would be a good time to start against an offense that can really hammer you, even in limited possessions. So I'm looking at Amani Hooker and Elijah Moulton to be difference makers on the back end for the Titans today.
Yeah, I mean, it's easier said than done. I mean, these guys have had communication problems and just about everything. Elijah Moulton got benched at one point in the game last week. I mean, the secondary has been a disaster, and you're dealing with the most explosive wide receiver in the league, and in my opinion, the most valuable player in the league, Jack. I think actually the chat got it right. I don't remember who commented it, but somebody commented sustaining drives, which is kind of the direction that I'm going to go with mine, because my answer simply slow the game down. I don't think you can stop Tyreek Hill. I don't even know if you can contain Tyreek Hill. But if you can slow down the Dolphins offense as a whole and give them less possessions in this football game, you have a chance to not give up 35 points, not give up 31 points. Maybe it's more of 24. Maybe it's 21, right? And now you're giving yourself a fighting chance to stay in this thing. So sustain drives, eat clock, try and slow this game down as much as possible. If you give the Dolphins 15 drives or 12 drives throughout this game, you're probably going to lose it because they're too explosive, right? You give them 12 to 15 drives, they might score 5 touchdowns on you. That's just what they do, right? So the few possessions, have an 8-minute drive in both halves if you can. And the more you convert on third down, as was pointed out by the chat, the better chance you have of doing so and keeping the score relatively close.
Yeah, we've seen the Titans defense bend but not break quite often this season. I mean, they hold up in the red zone okay. Problem is, they're going up against the number one red zone offense in football. The Miami Dolphins are scoring touchdowns on 75% of their red zone appearances. That's nearly 10 percentage points higher than the next closest team in Buffalo. That is a ridiculous number. The Titans, on the other hand, 30th in the league in the red zone. Only 41% of their drives in the red zone result in touchdowns. How can you work the red area to your advantage? Titans got to find playmakers there. I think it would be a good time. And, I know that the Titans community is reeling this week with the loss of Frank Wycheck, a guy who's so important to just the foundation of the Tennessee Titans. And more than that, just the community in general. I think it would be nice, not only to honor Frank, but I think it would be nice to give you a shot in this game in the red zone if your tight ends can make plays down there. If Chig can can catch a touchdown pass. I think he's a really big key in this one as well. Converting in the red zone might end up being the difference maker.
Well, Chig touchdown pass would be on our Mint Gaming Hall bingo board. You take a look at it right there as we ask you guys the question, what's coming off this bingo board today for Titans against the Dolphins? Take a good look again and see if you can figure out what's coming off the bingo board today while I tell you about our partners over at the Mint Gaming Hall. The Mint Gaming Hall is located just 35 minutes north of Nashville on I-65. You can stop by the center bar to watch the game on the big screens. It's a great location for your favorite gaming, food, entertainment, and fun. You can get in the Players Club, which is free, for a chance to win up to $1,000 in free play or even get breakfast or a quick lunch at the Corner Cafe. The Mint Gaming Hall, worth the drive, 35 minutes north of Nashville on I-65. And it's all new by the hotel with the Spring Hill Suites. And the Mint Gaming Hall is in Kentucky Downs with plenty of free parking. So go and see the Mint Gaming Hall at mintgaming.com. Over 1,000 ways to win. Jack, here is the Mint Gaming Hall bingo board, and I'll just have you kick it off here. What, if anything, is coming off of this guy today?
Yeah, so I think just about all of us in this chat here kind of agree that this is going to be one of those games where game script's probably going to favor the pass for the Titans. You're probably going to be playing from behind for a majority of this game. So can you see a receiver hit 150? Maybe a big second half contributes to that. Can you see Treylon Burks find the end zone? Chris Moore on a deep ball. Chig. These are all possibilities tonight just because of the way you have to play when you're going up against the Miami Dolphins. I think D-Hop's got a shot at 150. I think Chig and Treylon and Chris Moore, all three have a chance to find the end zone tonight. Not as confident in the road victory. Not as confident in a defensive touchdown. But I am looking for those wide receivers to possibly help us get a bingo tonight.
Yeah, I have to say nothing, which stinks, man. I hate coming on here and saying nothing, but we're getting down to the nitty gritty here a little bit. I mean, a Treylon Burks touchdown is a bingo. 30 points from the Titans is a bingo. There's not a ton of spaces left, so I agree with you. I think D-Hop could have a big game. I think he probably scores tonight. I think he might go over 100 yards tonight. 150, going to be hard pressed for that one. I don't think Derek is going to have 150 tonight either. And a road victory just seems hard to come by. So I know the chat here wants a defensive touchdown. They want a Chris Moore touchdown. Dylan Cole thinks nothing, and Eric thinks nothing as well as us. But Brandon says, yeah, none of that's happening, folks. And that's kind of where I fall. It stinks. I like when we get the Mint Gaming bingo board involved, but going to be hard pressed to check any of those boxes this afternoon.
Yeah, and the Miami Dolphins aren't really a defense that gives up 30 points often. In fact, they've only done it twice on this season. However, both of those times came on the road against the Bills and the Eagles. Titans aren't on that level yet, and they're certainly not at home. The Dolphins have also won 5 straight at home. It's a tough place to go in to win nowadays. It didn't used to be that way. Hard Rock used to be one of the worst NFL home attendances. So they've certainly improved, obviously, with a better product, but it's hard to go in there, not only win, but to put up 30 is asking a whole hell of a lot.
Yep. All right. Well, hey, it's prediction time. So we predict that nothing's coming off of the bingo board. But, what are we thinking for the final score? Jack, I believe the line is what? Minus 13.5 for this game. Am I correct in saying that?
13.5. The total is set at 45, which the Dolphins could very well hit all on their own tonight. Sam, I think it will be high scoring. I think it'll go over the total, and I think the Dolphins are going to edge the Titans out 38-21.
38-21. That is the over. I'm also on the over. I did bet the over with our partners and friends over at BetMGM. BetMGM, that's the place to do it. If you've got a pick, use the code ATOZ200. A $10 money line wager. The Titans are like plus 650 or something outrageous on the money line. Can turn into $200 in bonus bets instantly. BetMGM, an official partner of the Tennessee Titans. A $10 money line wager. $200 in bonus bets instantly. Visit betmgm.com for terms and conditions. 21 or older, Tennessee only, new customer offer. All promotions are subject to qualification and eligibility requirements. First online real money wager only. Rewards issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789. So, Jack, what was your final score again? One time for me real quick.
Dolphins 38-21. And, there's a lot of Dolphins in the chat. I'll run through them real quick before we get your answer.
Ethan's
Sam.
right with you, 38-21. But yeah,
there
give
you
me
go.
the chat real quick.
Jake Hughes, I love you. Starting off on Facebook, 31-28. Titans win. Let's go, Jake. Joe says Miami 28-7. Justin 44-23 Dolphins. 42-9 Dolphins. 56-7. I assume that's Dolphins from Eric Castillo. Jeff Rubles 34-10 Dolphins. 34-13 Dolphins. Ethan agrees with me, 38-21 Dolphins. A lot of big numbers here, continuing to go 54-24 Dolphins. Titans, Ruben says Titans 28-26. I want to see the Titans make this competitive. Make Titans football watchable again. They can do that if they score over 20 points against the Dolphins, and Will Levis really starts to prove himself as a quarterback who can go out and win games even if the running game isn't working. I do expect the Titans to have trouble running the football tonight.
This cracks me up from Patrick because this describes the game perfectly. It'll either be a 30-point Dolphins win or the Titans are going to win it by a field goal, and it's going to be weird. I do think the Titans cover this game, but I think this is a pretty good line. I'm going to take a 30-17 final score. 30-17. The final score, Miami beats the Titans. Maybe they make it a little bit frisky in the first half. And then we're sitting here on our halftime show, Jack, and we're like, hey, how about those Titans? And then it's going to be, maybe a bit of an ugly after some halftime adjustments. You and I will be back here on the A to Z Sports halftime show. So after you guys watch the first half of Monday Night Football, come back, join us at halftime, and we'll be reacting to the first half and the game. Good luck out there, folks. Strap in and pray for the best. We'll see you guys at halftime for more on Titans Monday Night Football coverage.